Hi, this is Mark Aller. This is one of my favorite spots in my house, and that is sitting on my deck with the woods in the back. And one of the things that I learned in the woods is there are different plants I need to be aware of. Poison ivy. I've determined that I'm actually not allergic to poison ivy, but there's a lot of different things. We've got different types of animals and the way that I feed the birds or things like that. What I'm getting at is this is my area for learning. So oftentimes when we think about learning objects, we think about it for students to be something that is digital. By all means, it can be digital, it can be 3D, it can be photos, it can be infographics, it can be so many different things. But when it comes to learning objects, it can also be not just digital to focus on with our kids, but it can be things to have hand-on, things that can grasp, that the kids can grab hold of, that they can do, that they can be part of. For instance, I could take one of the poison ivies and clip it and put it in a way that it's protected and that it won't share anything or share the disease with anybody, but yet I could show and say, this is what you want to stay away from. That is a learning object. And it would be a fitting thing to do as if we were doing something here at my house or in the woods to say, guys, this is what you want to stay away from. Well, learning objects with schools, with students, is something that enhances the material that we are studying, that we are focusing on, that we are dealing with. And one of the things that I've been playing around with looking at is a software called Marvin, a website with Marvin. It's a software for students. And it allows even so much more vast connections for students to be able to engage, to show that they learn what they are going through, to be able to put it into practice and make it engaging and fun. And you could even add 3D characters to communicate or to share a thought or to demonstrate that you learned, or to demonstrate something that you get to share. Because it's not just about teachers using learning objects. It's about students using learning objects and showing what and how they learn the material and how they went ahead and used it to demonstrate a way that not only engaged them, but engaged them with others in their class. Now, there's some fallbacks with things like Marvin, and that is cost and things of that nature, some training, some things that you'd have to do to gain a better awareness and learning. But yet, overall, it does have some great tools. Another one is Flickr. Flickr is a tool that is used that can show photos. You can use and pull these photos into your class. For instance, if I want to show my students somebody's trip to Germany to the steps of Martin Luther. Now, I've never made that, but as I'm talking about it, I can talk about it, share it, and show it in such a way that I can just express it, or I can go ahead and bring in the photos that this individual had, or individual himself, and have them come and show the photos of these locations and bring the people and the kids exactly to where Luther was at, engaging them not only with words of what it was like, but to show them the vastness and the variety of culture and how these areas have been preserved or not preserved. The other thing with Flickr is it would allow a storybook. Students could create their own story. You could give them the opportunity to create their faith walk via Flickr and to show and demonstrate their life, maybe from birth to baptism to where they are at today. See, learning objects are to just do that. It's to cause learning, to create engagement and enhancement. But with any learning object, you have to take time to educate and to make sure your student understands how to properly use it. And what that means is that the teacher has to use the material, to use the learning object, that software or site that you want your student, and you need to show them step by step, because that's with any of these learning objects. It's not just about the teacher, the student also to be able to engage back as well. And then you know it's become a positive learning object. The students not only grasp, but they can also demonstrate and they can also share what they learned. These woods, when I moved out here, I knew they were woods. Sometimes I had to research it. Sometimes I already knew it. And some of the things I already knew is something that somebody taught me. And the things that I was taught by being shown or hands-on are the things that I remember. Now, are there some things that I can remember as a kid that my dad just said? Yeah, but I can't repeat some of those because then you would know that I wasn't always perfect. But the things that he showed me, walked and showed me, make a difference. For instance, how to cut a tree down the proper way and the way that you don't want to. Learning objects enables you to grasp with your student, to teach them. And there are so many more, but Marvin, the 3D objects, the 3D things are something that kids are really liking. And it's another way of bringing some character and bringing another way of things in. And pictures always tell a story. Kids are using Snapchat to tell a story. You can use Flickr to tell a story. Well, those are my learning objects. A couple that I reviewed, digital and hands-on. I know when I first looked at this and thought of learning objects, I figured it was just going to all be about digital and all about how to use multimedia digital to be a way to engage and enhance. But I found out that it's not all digital. Sure, it's digital, but it's also hands-on. Teach through what they can read, but teach with what they can see and what they can grasp. And you begin to realize how much more the learning environment becomes and the excitement of learning what they can put their hands on. Take a kid to a museum, hands on. Give them a book, they can read it, but when they see it, what a difference. This is Mark Howard, check it out. Learning Objectives. Blessings.